Hi, my name is Robert Ip. Today, I just wanted to talk to you about what is going on in the market and what landlords should do in this coronavirus environment, in this COVID-19 environment where retailers are struggling, where people are working from home on Zoom, and where people are actually not going into the office. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what landlords should do for their office properties and for their retail properties. So let's talk about office properties first. Many people are working from home with the shelter-in-place guidelines, and as a result, office spaces are being underutilized or not utilized at all. I know for my own personal office, our office's guidelines are to say that our office is closed. So we can't take meetings there, and we are not supposed to be actually going into the office. As a result, what we are seeing is that many people can be productive outside of the actual physical office space. They can work from Zoom, they can do teleconferencing, they can collaborate still very much without having to go into the office. Of course, there's nothing that replaces in-person, face-to-face meetings, but I think what happens is that businesses are now going to be able to adapt and are also realizing they don't have to use or release as much office space. So in the future, I predict that many offices are going to downsize. Also, I do think that businesses are probably going to go out of business just as a result of this corona. People are struggling. So there is going to be a plethora of office space that is available. Now let's talk about retail. I think that's been the biggest headline in terms of the coronavirus. We are seeing that restaurants are not able to make it, even despite the curbside pickup, despite the delivery services out there like Grubhub, DoorDash. I know that there's quite a few national chains that are struggling, including Chuck E. Cheese, LPQ, also just, like the big retailers, Macy's, JCPenney's, they're all struggling. So as a result, retail is really in trouble, and landlords with retail properties, they really need to consider how to approach their space. I know a lot of landlords are now giving rent forgiveness for these months of shelter in place. They're also giving rent deferrals, possibly. So a tenant might be able to not pay the full amount, and they may defer their lease further out into a time where they don't have to pay it all up front right now. So that's kind of what's going on in the marketplace. So what am I telling landlords right now? Well, what I'm telling landlords right now is to make sure to keep their spaces filled. By hook or crook, keep their spaces filled. So what does that mean? It means you should try to keep your tenants, because the cost of tenant acquisition, including vacancy costs, commission costs to brokers, you have to pay tenant improvement costs for incoming tenants. It costs a lot to acquire a tenant. So they should do all they can to acquire or keep their tenants, because their space being vacant is going to do them no good. It's better to get some rent rather than no rent at all. So that's what I'm telling landlords with tenants in place. And then for landlords that have just vacant space right now, what I am advising them to do is to drop their rate. There is going to be a lot of space that's going to be coming on into the marketplace, and they need to be ahead of it. They need to drop their rates to fill their spaces. They might want to talk about short-term leases, think about alternative uses, so something that maybe they didn't consider before. So let's say a restaurant that went out of business, they might want to talk about using it as a commercial kitchen. Of course, you got to talk to the city about their zoning and see if that's something that is viable. But I think cities are probably going to be easier to work with. They want to see commerce. They don't want to have a space remain vacant, to remain dead. So I think cities will become more accommodating as this goes along. We are all in this together. Everybody says this about Corona. I really do think we all need to collaborate and come together during this Corona time. Landlords, I think you should do all you can to keep your tenants and keep your spaces filled. And tenants, I think there's a lot of things you can do to keep having a viable business. Talk to your landlords, communicate. That's it for now. I'll come back with you next time to talk about more about the coronavirus and how tenants should be approaching this from the commercial real estate perspective. Subscribe to me if you want to hear more about commercial real estate and just more commercial real estate knowledge. I'll see you next time.